Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. So for today's video, I have some more Dollar Tree sellable items, and these are of course using my Cricut. So these are essentially Dollar Tree blanks. And today's video is sponsored by Cricut. A big thank you to them. I appreciate them so much for supporting my channel. And I know that you all really loved my first two videos. I will link those at the end of these if you haven't seen them. But they are jam-packed with awesome ideas for gifts or for items to sell wherever you want. So I hope you enjoy today's video and you stick around by subscribing to this channel, because once you hit subscribe, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
And please go ahead and hit that notification bell. YouTube may or may not let you know when I post a video, but just in case they don't, follow me on Instagram. I always post what I'm up to, and let's go ahead and get started.
For the first one, I'm going to start off with these wood frames from Dollar Tree, but if you can't find them in Dollar Tree, Michael's has them for the exact same price, and you can use a coupon as well to save yourself some money. I'm going to take the picture out, and then I'm going to paint it with this beautiful dusty pink, but if you want to stain it, you certainly can. In my last video, I stained one, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Next, I'm going to measure out the width and length of the panels to figure out exactly how large I'm going to make my decals. And this is from Design Bundle. I will link it in my bio, so check it out there. This SVG brings quite a few options. You just have to fill it in, which is fairly easy. So even though the name is going on the top panel and the stats on the bottom, I am cutting it in one piece. It's just a lot easier for me this way, especially with adding the transfer tape. I just add the transfer tape and then I cut it down to make my life a little easier. If any of your details do come off, then you can just cut that little piece off of your transfer tape and then just place it back like I did with the time. You can coat this with a clear gloss if you'd like, or leave it as is, and I think it looks stunning. In the seasonal section of Dollar Tree, they have these adorable little hats for kids. They also have adult ones, but those are really small too. So I'm going to measure out how long I want my decal and how wide. Now, you are going to curve this, so I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it. If you have the latest update to Design Space, they now have a kerning option, which means that your font won't be separated, and you'll see right here it says only current fonts. So these are all the fonts that will stay together instead of being spaced out letters. So now I'm going to press the curve option and I'm going to start to curve upward. To make this a little easier for myself, I'm going to go to the shape section and get a circle so that I can use that as a guide as the circle on the hat and continue to curve. When I continue to curve, this is going to start to separate the letters. So when that happens, I'm just going to ungroup them and then start pushing them together as best I can. I keep playing with the placement, and after I'm done, I do weld those letters together so that they don't move. So I'm going to hold my shift key down and select all of the letters, and then I'm going to press weld. If you press attach instead of weld, when you go to cut it out, the letters are going to be all over the place. So weld is what you need to select. And then I went ahead and deleted that circle, and I'm going to mirror it on my mat because I'm using iron-on. If I was just using permanent, then I wouldn't need to do that. But because it's iron-on, then I'm going to mirror my design. So keep that in mind as well. Now I'm going to look at the materials, and this is polyester and paper. So on the Cricut heat guide, I'm using the polyester settings for my heat press. Once it is done cutting, I'm going to go ahead and weed on the mat. It makes life a whole lot easier, and it just doesn't move around. If you do it off of the mat, it curls up. So I always place it back on the mat, especially when it's super small designs. This one isn't small, but for small ones, it's a pain in the butt to do it off of the mat. Make sure you're putting this on a heat resistant surface. I have the Cricut mat and my little easy press. Now to make it fit nicely, I'm gonna go ahead and cut that curve with my scissors. This doesn't have to be a perfect curve, but make sure that you keep playing around with placement and that you like where it sits. Now that the little mini press is heated, I'm going to follow the heat guide. I don't remember what it was since I filmed this video so long ago, but I'm going to do the front and the back and then peel it. When I peel, I'm always a little paranoid that it's going to lift, so I always hold down with my fingers and peel very, very slowly. And this is the final product. In the kitchen section of Dollar Tree, I got this beautiful black mug and I am just going to measure out. Now, I got this design on Design Bundles. I uploaded it to Design Space and I'm gonna go ahead and unlock the design so that I can get the exact dimensions that I want. If I don't unlock, then when I press the dimensions and I put in my width and length, then it's kind of gonna go towards what it thinks it's best. So always unlock if you have a very specific dimension. Now I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this. As you can see on the side, this SVG has a ton of different layers and I want to duplicate that crystal. Now I'm going to go all the way to the bottom and select the crystal. I can also click on it and I could just press duplicate, but I really want to show you what the slice tool can do. So I'm going to go to shapes and just get the square shape, put it over my crystal, and then I'm going to select both of those, the crystal and the square, and press slice. This is going to give me different layers, so I can delete the top and then just keep those two copies. This is perfect if you have an SVG where you don't like a portion and you just want to delete it. Again, you can do the same thing by duplicating, but I want to show you what slice can do in case you just want to erase something on a font or add extra of it. Now I'm going to take the one with all the details and I'm going to weld it together so that when I transfer it over to my mat, it's one single piece. And the crystal on the side is going to be cut on a different mat because I'm going to use iron-on holographic vinyl. So I'm going to use permanent and holographic for this. This is a little experiment. Now for this, I'm going to mirror because this is iron-on. Look how beautiful this looks. As usual, when cutting iron-on, you want the shiny side down, and with this, it's a little difficult to tell what the shiny side is, but the part that looks like the right side, in other words, the holographic side, goes facing the mat. Now, I will be completely honest with you, not only was this a win, but it was also a fail because it did end up changing colors, but I still really loved it. I cut it down so I can save some of my vinyl, and now I am just going to remove the excess, and I want only the inside of the crystal to be that beautiful color. So I'm just removing that outline, and now we are going to go ahead and put this on our mug. This already has a carrier sheet, which is sticky, so I'm going to place it down, and I'm going to use some scissors to create some notches because this is a curved surface. And this just helps it stick a little better. Another thing that I am going to do, which this is optional, but I have some heat resistant tape. I'm going to warm up my mini press and I'm going to add my heat resistant tape away from my design. So you don't want to add this on your design because it won't get heated and it'll just stay right there. So make sure that when you're adding this, you're adding it on the carrier tape and not over the design. I'm going to start pressing, and usually with iron-on vinyl, you're going to need to cool peel. So that's exactly what I did, but I did notice that it started changing colors immediately to this really cool orange. I really would have loved the original color, but the cool orange worked too. Now the reason I'm going up and down is because I want those details on the crystal to also get heat, because if not, they're gonna not stay in place. So this is what I'm doing, and then I'm going to start to peel once it is cool. And if any areas are lifting, I'm going to go ahead and heat it again and then wait till it's cool to lift and check if it's ready. When doing something with intricate details, you really have to make sure that you don't accidentally lift any pieces. I did end up losing a tiny detail in the crystal right about there, but you can barely tell once I put the other part. Now that's supposed to be this color, but ended up this orange. Like I said, I was a little disappointed, but it's okay. Now for the permanent vinyl, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of this. So on the second mat, I do not have to mirror. I'm going to go ahead and select Premium Outdoor Vinyl. So I'm going to go to Vinyl, and I do have it selected as a favorite. And remember, you don't have to mirror this because this is not iron-on. So the shiny side goes facing up. It doesn't have to go facing down. So I am going to cut down this vinyl because I have way too much and I do save my scraps. And when I weed this out, I'm going to take away the middle parts of the crystal. So the parts that are holographic, I'm removing from this decal. This is what it looks like, and I'm going to line it up perfectly because remember, this is an iron-on, so it is sticky. And then I'm going to start to place it down, but before I secure it, I'm going to cut some notches so that it goes around the curves of the mug beautifully. There is a part that doesn't fully touch, which is right there where the moon is, and instead of pressing that down, I'm going to wait until I fully remove my transfer tape, and then I'm going to lift it up a little bit. For this, I'm going to use my weeding tool. I prefer to do this than try and force it to stay in place because you're always going to have an air bubble underneath if you do that. So lift and rearrange if needed, and look at this beauty. So that's it for me. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know which one is your favorite. A big thank you to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. And as usual, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.